Welcome once again to our channel. Today we look at doing a demo lesson when you're having a job interview as a teacher in an international school. Sometimes you've gone through the interview process and the school wants you to do a demo lesson. This could be online or it could be physical if you've gone to the school physically. And we look at the steps that you take in a demo lesson or the must-haves that you should consider in your demo lesson. Consider subscribing to our channel so that anytime I release a new video, YouTube will be able to notify you. Okay, how do you do a demo lesson? You may have your own way of doing it. And this is something that is unique to every teacher, and this is what I'm telling you is something that has worked for me. So you may consider following my format or blending it with your format. The first thing is that you try to prepare very well, prepare as much as possible, and if possible, over-prepare. The school will give you the topic, the grade or the class that you're going to teach, and possibly how many there are. And I'm assuming that you'll be doing a demo in your own subject area. So the subject, the content should not be an issue at all. So when you get to the school or to the class and you're shown to where you're going to do the demo, if you have the time, you can get the room ready. You may want to lay out the room in a certain way. There are people who want the students to sit in a circle. There are others who want a conference kind of sitting where it's like an U kind of sitting. It depends again on the layout of the class and the seats and the time that you have. Of course, the more time that you have, the more time you have to make such arrangements. If you don't have time, you just go in there and start the lesson. It's always a good idea to start with an immediate connection. Don't go directly to the lesson. Try to break some ice with the students. Say hi, introduce yourself, say who you are and what you'll be doing for the day. And possibly, if you have time again, you can start with an activity. My subject is theater, and we always try to start with an icebreaker. You could have a small game that the students can play. You could have it from you, or you could ask them to suggest, and then that could take about 5 minutes. Again, you have planned your lesson. It's a good idea for you to think about letting the students lead the game and play the game instead of you doing it, unless you're showing them a new game, in which case it may take a lot of time. So if the game comes from them, let them lead it, and within that time you can be setting up the projector, you can be writing on the board what is your lesson plan for the day, lesson objective, LO. Let the children know what you're going to achieve that day. Okay. So I'm assuming there is someone who is observing you, or there is a panel in the class who are observing how you're doing things, but just relax. They're just colleagues like you are. They're just teachers like you are, so you don't need to panic. If you have prepared well, then there should be no problem at all. So once the children have done, or the students have done their icebreaker, be sensitive to the time and call them back. Then introduce the lesson. Tell them what the LO is about. You may want to ask them, what do you understand by the LO? Today we want to achieve this, and try to make the LO or the lesson objective very actionable, something that is actionable and achievable. Then you introduce the lesson. By this I mean tell them what you've researched on the lesson, but you don't give them everything. You don't tell them everything that you researched. So once you do that, you may want to then now give them a task where you put them in groups. And again, you may want the students to choose their own groups, or you may want, because at this time you don't know the dynamics of the class, you don't know who is a weak student, who is a strong student, who gels well with who. So you may leave that room for them to be in groups, but make them understand that you reserve the right to change anyone in the group who you feel is not being productive in that group. So you give them the task, and possibly it should be clear on the board what they are doing, and tell them how much time they have. So what are we doing now? Between 9 and 9:15, we are researching on this topic and coming up with 2 slides that we'll present to the class. So you put that on the board and you let them work. Keep going around the groups, see how they're working, clarifying a question, and it's always a good idea if one student asks a question, you can just answer to the whole class, because it may add value to everybody. So once you ensure that they understand the topic and that they're on topic, you just let them work, but keep going around, clarify anything that you think they need clarification, and then when they have maybe 5 minutes left, remind them 5 minutes to go, because sometimes students get carried away and they lose track of time. Then you tell them who will be the first group to go and present, who will be the second to present, who will be the third, and so on. So the students know. And make it clear when we are presenting, all the other groups, keep away your gadgets, because there's a temptation. When one group is presenting, another one is catching up with their presentation, or there's a point they missed and they want to work on that. But to be fair to everybody, when one group is presenting, let everybody just listen. And once they are done presenting, of course you've given them how much time they will take presenting. It could be 3 minutes, again depending on how much time you have. It could be 5 minutes, it could be not above 5 minutes, depending again on the level, the class that you are teaching. Then having done that, have 1 or 2 responses from the class. Who would like to respond, who has a question, and so on. And then you keep moving, and then you get to the end of the lesson. All the presentations have been done, and you introduce the lesson, the presentations have been done, you have clarified any questions that have been asked. Now, give them a task to reflect on what has been taught, okay? It could be one thing they learned, they could put it in their notebook, they could have an exit ticket where they write just small pieces of paper and give them to you. If they have sticky notes, they can write and stick somewhere on a chart paper on the wall, or just leave on your desk. And if you have time, you can read them. If you don't, they just give you the exit ticket as they go. Something else that you should be sensitive about, or you should try to do as much as possible, is to differentiate learning. So some students respond very well when they hear things or watch things like videos. So you may have a short clip at the beginning that they see. Others like to hear when you talk, auditory learners. Others when they do things with their own hands. So again, depending on how much leeway you have and how many materials you have, you may want to incorporate all this, okay? So that you cater to every kind of learner. And when they are presenting in their groups, you can give them the leeway. You know, if you want to make a poster and come and present to us, if you want to make slides, come and present to us. If you want to make a small performance, a skit, come and present to us. That is giving students leeway to respond in the different ways that they understand learning, okay? So once you incorporate all those things, it should not be any problem. One thing that you may also want to do is to maybe, again, depending on how much time you have, ask the students their names. This may not be possible with the time frame that you've been given, but if you have enough time or adequate time, you may ask the students to introduce themselves. For example, when they are asking a question, then you may ask, what's your name, please? And then just note at least 2 or 3 names of the students. You know, people respond when you call them by name, and within the lesson, refer to them by their name, and it creates a good impression. You know, it's authentic, it creates a good impression, and I'm sure whoever is observing you will see that you're making that effort. So basically, that's a demo lesson, and it should go well. Relax, don't be, don't be anxious, and all should go well. So thank you very much. I'll continue making more videos like this to help you in your journey to become an international educator. Thank you very much. And you may want to subscribe to our channel so that, again, when I release videos like this, YouTube will notify you. Thank you very much.